Morning. Happy Labor Day weekend. Hopefully everyone's going to have a picnic. I mean, that's what Labor Day is for. Like Memorial Day, Labor Day, have to have a picnic of some sort, barbecue. Got to do it. Got to do it. So, okay, all kinds of stuff going on. I'm going to start out and end with all of the same stuff because next week is our annual picnic at the park, right across from Anthony's, Columbia Point, and we're having services again there this year. So, second year in a row, we're going to do that. We got a little PA system, so hopefully you can hear everybody this time, even if there is a little bit of breeze like there was last year. So, remember, no services here next Sunday at the park. So, ta-da. Huh? What?
No, I just heard a song yesterday. It said, go outside and get a little closer to God.
Ah, well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Church of the Ever-Nibbling Trout. It's one of my favorite churches. Yes? Right, yeah, I said next to Anthony's. So, yeah, right there. It's right next to the bathrooms. So, yep. Followers of the Way this coming Thursday from 6:30 until 8. And Jan actually wrote something out for me this time so I can actually say something. How cool is that? Before religion got a hold of Jesus' teachings, the ones who follow Jesus were called followers of the way. This class leads you through a Bible overview like no other. I can attest to that. Learn who you really are spiritually. Learn the real message of Jesus and other Bible figures. Explore spiritual insights revealed through the eyes of light. Follow the journey to your own spiritual connectedness and reclaim your spiritual innocence. So, it's very, very different. If you've never been to Followers of the Way, it will open your eyes. Okay, John Lennon and George Carlin, a couple patron saints that we have. And John said, "Why in the world are we here? Surely not to live in pain and fear. Why on earth are we there? When you're everywhere, come get your share." And George, this is appropriate today, if all of our national holidays were observed on Wednesdays, we could wind up with 9-day weekends. Ta-da. All right. This was in 2004. On average, in any given hour, there are 61,000 people airborne over the United States. A lot of people. So, well, that's kind of what I was thinking, is yeah, probably even more now. Gee, we have all kinds of things sitting here. You want to talk about those? I think that was your cue.
Yes, we have several things. I wasn't here last week, so kind of dropped the ball here on the communion sign up. If you don't know what that is a way that you can help, serve the church. If it's just a simple little thing, but it really does help us out. Sunday mornings helps to put together the communion that we all share, and then clean up afterwards. And I'm just in need of some people to sign up for this month. And then if it fills up, there's 3 slots. If it fills up, please go to the October month and sign up there if you can. So I'm going to start that one around. And speaking of our picnic potluck, it's next weekend, and so again, it's kind of a short notice, but I have a sign-up sheet. We are going to supply hamburgers and hot dogs this year, so we're not going to do the pulled chicken, sorry. Hamburgers, hot dogs, we'll supply the buns and all of the stuff to go with it and some chips, but we're going to need some side dishes to accompany the hamburgers and hot dogs. So I've got salads and desserts list here if you'd like to sign up to bring something.
Or desserts and salads.
Or desserts and salads, or desserts and desserts, or even more desserts. Salads are good too. I'll start that on this side. Make sure that it goes up the other side there too. And then one more thing, bear with me. Beth Clark, sitting in the back there, and I are going to be co-hosting the new intuitive that we're going to be doing, the intuitive class. It's going to be called Applied Intuition. It's going to be really exciting because each month we're going to do something new. And so it's going to be something that you won't want to miss, because it's going to be something new every month, something really exciting. Explore your intuitive side. We're all natural intuitive and have our own unique intuitive style. Join us and experiment with different ways to access your intuition and discover what works best for you. We'll explore topics such as psychometry, your intuitive symbols, self-readings without the bias, remote viewing, and more. Each class will be different, really exciting. We're really excited about this. It's going to be so much fun. It's really going to challenge your intuition. It's also going to help you to develop it even stronger. The fee is $10. It's a donation that goes to the church, $10 each. So we really look forward to seeing you guys. It'll be the third Wednesday. Is that what we decided? Third Wednesday of each month. And so I hope that you guys will be able to join us. Oh, it starts 6:30 to 8. Thank you very much for that. And it will be on the calendars and everything. And I think I might put together a little flyer, a handout that we can have on the back table if you'd like. So thank you.
Things that make you go, The opposite of talking is not listening. The opposite of talking is waiting. It is a golden rule not to judge men by their opinions, but rather by what their opinions make of them. Fortune does not change men, it unmasks them. Certainly can. Certainly can. All right. Early Greek secret societies had very strict membership requirements. A candidate for admission was voted upon by the members, and only a few adverse ballots were required to disqualify them. In order to keep the voting secret, white beans were dropped into a jar or helmet by those favoring the candidate. Brown beans or black beans constituted a negative vote. Only officials of the group were supposed to know how many adverse votes were cast. But occasionally a clumsy voter dropping his bean into the jar would knock it over and disclose its contents to the onlookers. To spill the beans is the literal fashion was embarrassing, to say the least. Medieval scholars who delved into the cultures of Greece and Rome translated the ancient term for clumsiness into a figurative phrase naming indiscretion in revealing information of any sort. Now you know where that silly thing came from. Sorry, another blonde joke. A blonde was playing Trivial Pursuit one night. It was her turn. She rolled the dice and she landed on science and nature. Her question was, if you are in a vacuum and someone calls your name, can you hear it? She thought for a time and then asked, is it on or off? Velcro, what a ripoff. A cartoonist was found dead in his home. Details are sketchy. Venison for dinner again? Oh dear. The earthquake in Washington obviously was the government's fault. Be kind to your dentist. He has fillings too. Yeah, I know. Fortunately, that was the last one of that, so no more. I did this one back in 2008, and I think I've done it once since then, but I still like it. On the last day of kindergarten, all the children brought presents for their teacher. The florist's son handed the teacher a gift. She shook it, held it up, and said, "I'll bet it's flowers." "That's right," shouted the little boy. Then came the candy store owner's daughter, handed the teacher a gift. She held it up, shook it, and said, "I'll bet it's a box of candy." And the girl shouted, "That's right." The next gift was from the liquor store owner's son. The teacher held it up, saw that it was leaking. She touched a drop of her finger and tasted it. "Is it wine?" she asked. "No," the boy answered, "it's not." The teacher touched it, another drop to her tongue. "Is it champagne?" she asked. "No," the little boy answered. "Well, what is it?" she said. "Well, it's a puppy." Yeah, now you're getting it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. Hey, I didn't tell you I do good jokes. Besides, these jokes came from you. Somebody gave me that one. It's their fault, not mine. Let's do another Josh Groban. Oh, yeah. Next Sunday, bring chairs and blankets. And drums.
Oh, and drums.
Oh,
Yeah.
good idea. Good idea. So drums, blankets, chairs. Drums, blanket, chairs. Drums, blanket, chairs. Oh, and food. Drums, blanket. We have a guest speaker today. Yay! Yeah, some of you actually know who it is. Others you don't. Oh, you know what? Jan? Oh, okay. All right. And, no, I don't want to do that. No, never mind. This young lady has been with us for quite some time. Quite accomplished in everything she does. Very well versed in a number of different healing modalities. And someone that if you don't know, you really need to tap her on the shoulder and get to know her. So, Jocey.
Now, good morning? Okay. Yay. So today, I'm going to talk about being an empath. So how many of you know what that means? How many think you're empaths? Wow. A good half of the room raised their hand. So maybe I don't need to talk about empaths if you already know. Okay, we'll talk about it anyway. Okay. So when we take information into our body that belongs to another person in some form or another, we're an empath. So we all take in information in a variety of ways, whether it's by studying body language, or just an intuitive, or a mother's intuition. We use all of our senses to take in information, but the empath takes it in physically. So Judith Orloff, who is an MD, she's also an intuitive, highly intuitive, and she's a medical intuitive. Very much like Carolyn Mace, and she wrote this book, The Empath Survival Guide. So I thought it was very helpful. I don't consider myself an empath, even though I consider myself nowadays relatively intuitive. That took me a long time to decide that I was intuitive, because I didn't do it the same as other people. But Judith says that empaths have an extremely reactive neurological system, and they don't come with the same filters that others of us do that block this excess stimulation, and that they absorb these feelings into their physical body. And she said 20% of our population has this high sensitivity. 20%, that's quite a bit of our overall population. To talk about being an intuitive, I really need to talk about how I view how we take in information and how we process that information. And as a hypnotherapist, I've been a hypnotherapist now for 14 years. I studied it for 15 years before that. So I think it's given me a pretty clear insight. Is it the only way? No, but this is how I view it. So basically, I think we have three levels of consciousness. We have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a superconscious mind. Our conscious mind is what we do from day to day. In our conscious mind, we're aware of time. On the other two levels, there is no awareness of time. It doesn't exist. So conscious mind is what we do every day, walking around, taking in information, using all our senses to take in data. And our conscious mind kind of sorts through that data. Did I say conscious or subconscious? Thank you. That'll get them confused right away. The subconscious mind is our computer program. It's what came with our DNA. It's the plans that we made when we came here. It's our computer program. And we are still programming up to around the age of 6 or 8. So all of the thoughts that really impact us are recorded as a program in our subconscious. None of us are too intelligent at that age. We're not making the best decisions, but we're writing a program. And that becomes the filter that we see life through, is that program. So Bruce Lipton wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. Surprisingly, he's a biologist to write that. And he says that we can manipulate our DNA and change it by our belief system. Okay? The superconscious mind is our connection to spirit, to God, to source. In the Hawaiian Huna belief, they believe that we had to go through the subconscious to communicate with spirit. And when we come when we can believe that something is ours, that's how we manifest, because the subconscious then communicates that information to the superconscious mind, which is source that brings us things. So if we want to manifest, we have to convince the subconscious that it's already here. And I know you've heard that before. Okay? So how do we do that? How do we change and get to the subconscious? Because it's not easy to get there. So some of these decisions that we made in our childhood don't benefit us, don't serve us. But again, it's the filter we see life through. So in what I call the process, which is what I teach classes on, and I'm getting ready to teach another series of classes here at the church. There's a flyer in back like this. Several of their students are here today, and I'll introduce them later. You can ask them what the classes are like. This is a very easy process that anybody can do. You don't need to be a hypnotist to do that. What we need is an altered state. So what is an altered state? So here we're awake, here we're asleep. We want to go in the middle, that just before we fall asleep is an altered state. When we wake up and we're aware of our surroundings, but the body's not moving yet, that's an altered state. When we do meditation here in church, that's an altered state. When we do guided imagery, we put ourselves in an altered state. When we daydream, we're in an altered state. When we walk into the other room and forget what we're doing in there, obviously that's something we all do. We put ourselves in an altered state. So professionals tell us that we spend a great portion of our day there. Sometimes hundreds of times a day or more. Sometimes we hang out there a lot. Okay? Anytime we're in that altered state, we've opened the door to the subconscious. And we can program ourselves. The problem is we don't realize we're there. Otherwise, we'd be a lot better at changing our program and programming ourselves. But we don't know we're there. When you daydream and somebody speaks to you, you don't know where you've been, do you? But you know you've been somewhere else, okay? But it's because that state is so familiar to us, if you are hypnotized or moved into that altered state with help, with assistance, you're surprised that it doesn't feel different to you. You don't realize that you're very experienced at being there. Okay, so when I hypnotize people, they say, well, I didn't feel hypnotized. Of course not, because you spent 50% of your day there. Okay? is not different. But when we turn off that conscious mind, the door to the subconscious opens. And in the subconscious is everything there is to know about you and our world. Everything is there from the time your soul was created. And it's there for simply asking you a question. And so in the process, we simply are guides asking you questions to help you get to your answers. That's all it is a guide into a process of helping you get your answers. And if that answer doesn't serve you, then encouraging you to change it, to look at it differently. So I'll give you some examples in a little bit. When you're in that altered state, if you just relax and ask a question of yourself, if you wait just a moment, that answer will come to you. If you go looking in the conscious mind, it closes the door. That's the hardest thing to do, is to wait, to allow the answer to come. That's where we have the most problem with it, is being patient with ourselves and allowing the answer to come. So let me give you an idea of what that process looks like. A young lady came and she just felt like her life was a mess. She was recently divorced. She had a young child. It didn't seem like anybody wanted to help her. And we got back to an experience where she's about 9 months old, and she's laying in the backyard, and it's some kind of family gathering. And she can't walk yet. And a big dog comes up and walks over her. Well, a big dog to a baby might not be a big dog. So I said, well, what kind of dog was it? She said, a German Shepherd. Okay, probably a big dog. Okay. I said, did it step on you? No. Did it hurt you? No. So nothing happened? No. So what is it about this experience? This is what she told me. No one cared. I'm not safe. I'm not protected. No one will take care of me. I cannot trust anyone. 9 months old. Nothing happened. These are the decisions she made in that moment because no one came and picked her up and told her she was okay. So she had a daughter, so I simply said, if your daughter was laying on the floor and something happened and she didn't cry, would you go pick her up? She said, no, probably not. Okay. These are the type of decisions we make in innocent moments that affect us for the rest of our life. It's the filter we see life through, and they continue to affect us till we can go in and change them. So what I call the process is to go in and find these moments, find out what decision did we make, and they're usually not rational, but no, we're under 6 years old. You know, we don't know a lot yet. And so having her change each one of these to acknowledge that these were not true. So using her imagination to change what was not true in the first place isn't a big stretch of the imagination. And so I kind of look at this like we're recording everything on an audio tape. And when we had our old audio tapes, we couldn't delete a section, could we? Well, experts could, but most of us couldn't. What did we have to do? We had to write over it or erase it, put blank sound in, didn't we? We couldn't actually get rid of that. Let's say song number 2 we didn't like anymore. So what this process is to tape over our original experience with a different song, with different words, with different feelings, with different emotions. Tape over it so that when that tape plays, and it plays all the time, if we go out here and stand on the corner and witness an accident, do you think anybody in this room is going to see it the same way? And the reason is because of what's on that tape. You've all had situations in an experience where your reaction to what just happened was way out of line. Okay? That's because you're reacting to what's on that tape. You're not reacting to what just happened. We're reacting to our whole lifetime. Okay? So the idea here is to go in and find these experiences that we recorded in a negative way, in a way that doesn't benefit us, doesn't suit us, and to tape over them with a new thought. And the degree to which you do that and believe it changes you. You now, that tape plays a different song. You have a different reaction. So if you change an experience by 50%, then all the related ones are 50%. So it behooves you to do the best job you can to believe the change you make. Okay? I'm supposed to say something else here, but I don't know what it is. Must not be that important. Okay. When I came to the last Ancient Ones class that Janice had, I had seen a stairway in the Sunday meditation. I didn't understand why I saw this stairway so clearly and what it meant, so I came to ask what that meant. And the Ancient Ones ended up repairing my DNA in that class and told me that I was to include that DNA repair in the process. And they also told me that the process was a form of ascension, and I was very surprised by them saying that to me. But when we release these negative emotions, our vibration can raise, and therefore we can ascend further up than we've been, because the negative emotions hold us in a lower vibration. So that made sense to me. I feel I've missed something here. In this process, there's nothing for you to remember. When the process is over, which takes an hour, 2 hours, we can look at a whole variety of experiences in that time. There's nothing for you to remember because we changed it on the subconscious level. You changed it on the subconscious level. But again, you've changed it to the degree that you believe it. So it behooves you to do the best job you can. So with that understanding, we're going to talk about the empath process. And this happened a few months ago, that this came to my attention. I had a young man come, and he was really frustrated with life. He quit school early because he couldn't be around all the kids. He didn't like going to stores or supermarkets. He lived at home with his parents. So what do you suppose was the problem? He was an empath. And so I said, well, I can tell you what's wrong. You're an empath. He said, I don't know what that means. So I thought the best thing for us to do was to let him know some things that are very important for empaths. So we had a pretty long discussion. I asked him if it was okay to bring a spirit guide in and have the spirit guide let him know how his body would respond to certain questions. So Janice talks often of our ring true. To me, I know the difference between something I should listen to. You know, I get goosebumps, and I know that that's important for me to listen to. If it's really important to me, it's almost like I get slapped across the face, my whole body reacts, and it's like, pay attention, listen up, this is important, okay? That's about as extreme as my body gets. And I know when I'm hearing something that I don't need to pay attention to that I would call an untruth. It just means it's not important to me. And I usually get kind of a twist in my gut. I don't listen to the news anymore because of that, because I was always getting that when I listened to the news. So it's not important for me to listen to the news most of the time. I think I'll be directed when it's important for me to listen. Okay? So that to me is an untruth. So the questions I went through to him after discussion was, I said, when we get in there, I'm going to ask you these questions. I want you to repeat it in your mind and then see how your body responds. So I asked him to ask, how does my body resonate or respond when I hear the truth? And he got a reaction. And then I asked him, how does your body respond when you hear an untruth, something that's not for you? And he got a reaction. Then I asked him, when I realize I'm feeling something I wasn't feeling a little bit ago, and I asked the question, does this feeling or impression belong to me? How will your body respond to that question? So he would know that if he just picked up something, how would his body let him know it didn't belong to him? Wow, you guys all look so serious. Okay, lighten up. So the other question was, if this feeling doesn't belong to me, how do I release it? How do I let go of it? Because the empath doesn't want to hang on to it. It's not theirs. It doesn't belong to them. They want to let it go. Many of you have learned how to let go of these things. But I want you to be open to finding out something new today, because Janice is going to lead us through a meditation and ask us these or similar questions. Okay? And so how does your body respond to let it go? What is it supposed to do? And then I feel this is a gift you have, and you came on purpose with this ability. So what are you to do with it? How are you to be of benefit to your fellow man? And the answers have been truly amazing. So I've done this with at least half a dozen people now, and I want to give you some of the results of this. So when they heard the truth, one said it feels like a ray of sunshine. Another one said, I felt it in the heart. Another one said their breath was rising. Another said they got goosebumps. They had a whole body response. Another one, lightness on the right side. Another one felt it in the solar plexus. That was the response to truth. So they were all different. They were all individual. Okay? The untruth, something they weren't supposed to listen to. One of them said their shoulders ached, that their mind really got busy. Another one said trouble breathing. One said their stomach would ache. One just said their whole body felt different. One said they had darkness on the left side. Another one said, it feels like I'm being thrust backwards. Another one said, it feels like I want to run away. When asking the question, does this belong to me? One felt compassion. One felt it in the heart area. Sometimes it's hard for them to describe what they're feeling. They know what they're feeling, but they just don't have the words for it. Warmth in the chest was experienced. One felt free. One felt tightness in the solar plexus, and another felt like a release. And then when I asked them, how are you to release this? One said, just blow it out. Another said, feel connected to the earth. Another said, a heavy, deep breath out. One told me, just know that Spirit has shielded me. I don't have to hang on to it. Another said, put her thumb and finger together. Another said, let it go to earth. She said, it's like a flushing. Okay. And one lady said, just let it go. And she opened her eyes and looked at me. And I said, do you know what you just did? She said, no. I said, when I asked you that question, you went, I did? Yeah. Close your eyes, let's go back. Ask her a second time. She did the same thing, just so apparently that's what she's supposed to do. but all felt their responses were easy for them. That was not a big problem. What was really enjoyable was how were they to be of assistance to others. One said, simply express words of kindness. One said, just accept and love them like they are. One said, share words of blessing and send Reiki. And she's a cashier at a market. And she likes to do that when she hands them their receipt. This one was a school teacher, and she said, just be the real me, and it will allow the kids to be their real self. So these have all been easy for them. Two of them said, just be with them. And the other one said, there's nothing to do, just be with them. One said, hands. And I was observing a student working with someone, and he said, hands. And we looked at each other, hands? Yeah. Do you know what that means? Yeah. Okay, so when he came out, what's that mean? And he says, well, I know that I can just put my hands on people and they feel better. We said, have you ever studied any energy work, therapeutic touch, hands-on healing, Reiki? No, I don't even know what that is. But he knew he could put his hands on people and they would feel better. The biggest shock to me was a former Hanford scientist that I had known for a long time, almost since I've lived here. And he came and we worked on something else, and I said, do you want to go through this? And he said, oh yeah, that'd be great. So when he came to what's he supposed to do, this Hanford scientist, former, said channel. What? Do you know what that means? Yeah. I couldn't wait to wake him up. I said, okay, tell me what's going on. Well, where he volunteers now, he talks to groups of people. And after his talk, sometimes a person will come over and talk to him individually. And he said, this has been happening for a few months now, that I feel like I just step aside at some point and they have a conversation with whoever's there. And he said, then before they leave, they're thanking me how much this has helped them. And he said, I step back in. And he said, I don't know what we talked about. I have no idea. He said, but they're really grateful. And I said, is that okay with you? And he said, yeah, it's kind of cool. Not something I would have expected from a man with that level of education. Wasn't thinking about him being a channel. He recently contacted me and he said that has been a real pleasure to know that that's what he's supposed to do. That he's very, very comfortable with doing that. So again, I have a flyer in the back if you'd like to talk to me. I'd like to introduce you to the students of the course. You can talk to any of them. You can have sessions with them. You can talk to them about their experiences. So Sandra and William and Carol, would you stand up and let everybody know who you are? And Carol, facilitators, yes, okay. And Beth, and who else? Tina. These are the students that have been the farthest through the process, so you're welcome to talk to any of them. Yeah.
I have a question. During these courses, are you going to talk at all about how best to win an argument with an empath?
Probably not. No, Christopher, no. So these people can take you through the process. You can make private appointments with them. They can talk to you about how it works, what their experience have been. Janice is going to lead us through a meditation, and if we have time, I'll tell you some more stories about what has happened with people. This is a great way to be of help to people, because this is life-changing. It's quick, it's easy, We can even work on things that we don't know what we're working on. The only problem with doing that is if you get stuck in resolving it, we can't help you because we don't know what it is. But we are able to work on very private experiences. Sandra? So twice a month we're at the church, and usually 1 or 2 students show up if you'd like to come and learn more about this process. If a student's here, they can take you off in the other room and you can have a quick little private session with them. We're meeting this Wednesday here at the church, Wednesday evening at 6:30, and we're meeting on the 26th, which is a Tuesday here at the church. You're always welcome to come and learn more about this process. No, we don't have to be empaths. I'm not an empath, and many of the instructors aren't either. But if you have anything that bothers you, this is a really simple, quick way to get to what that is, because most of us don't know what it is. It's buried so deep we don't remember it. But it's all there, it's all recorded, and when you relax, you will know where it came from and what it is, and be able to change it. Yes? How do you talk to me privately? Just ask me to do that. Just ask me. I mean, I'm going to be here after church. You can talk to any of the students. They've all been through it. They're in the back on the table. Okay. But if you'd like to know more about the classes, I'm happy to talk to you about that too. The students that were in the last class, the March class of last year, are welcome to come free of charge. If you are a student from any of the other classes, it's new material, so that charges $50 instead of the full cost of the class. If there's anybody that the cost of the class is a hardship, I'm willing to work something out with you. I think it is something important that we need to offer the community. Okay? Any other questions? We're going to have Janice take us through this. Great.